90 Day Fiancé spoilers tease that Jenny Slatten recently walked out on Sumit Singh after being insulted by his parents about her looks. She made the admission on an episode of 90 Day Fiancé Bears All, only available on Discovery Plus. The new streaming service. In Sunday's episode of the streaming spin-off 90 Days Bears All, Sumit and his parents, Sana and Anil, insulted Jenny's looks and she left the room. It is a little hard to believe Sumit would insult Jenny's looks, isn't it? Anil and Sana were talking to Sumit virtually as host Sean Robinson stood by as mediator. Anil had claimed that Sumit had been shocked by Jenny's in-person looks when they had first met. Sumit is 32 while Jenny is 61, and he had thought she looked much older in person. This is not something Sumit would have wanted his father to tell Jenny. Anil continued as the virtual meeting continued, saying that while Jenny and his son were both good, in his opinion, they had expected their son's future wife should be good-looking. Jenny asked Sumit, having heard he was shocked that she looked much older in person for the first time, if it was true. Sumit answered in the affirmative and tried to explain himself. He told Jenny he didn't mean that kind of shock because he didn't feel any age difference, but she just looked different than what he expected, and admitted that he had thought she would look a little bit younger. Jenny, clearly hurt, told Sumit that was the first time she ever heard it from him. Sumit kept digging himself into a deeper hole as he asked Jenny if she expected to hear him say things like that to her, and that was why he never told her that. Jenny, clearly hurt and insulted, stormed out of the room. Sumit kept complaining after Jenny left the room, saying he never wanted her to know about that and never planned to tell her, but didn't want to lie to her after his dad brought up the matter. Sumit didn't think she needed to know, because he knew she would be insulted and hurt. But his father, Anil, kind of had Sumit over a barrel when he disclosed it, and Sumit admitted yes, he was shocked at. He further explained that in 2011, when they were starting to talk, camera quality and the internet was not the best, so neither one of them really got a clear picture of each other. When he saw her for real, she did look older in person. Then Jenny came on off camera and could be heard as she questioned Sumit's explanation of the camera quality is poor, and then came back on camera in defensive mode. She told Sumit he needed to be honest and tell her the truth for one thing. She was not going to continue to sit there and be insulted by everyone telling her she looks like an old lady. Anil didn't help matters any when he chimed in with how makeup hides the true age of anyone and can make some people look much younger than they really are. Jenny shot back with how that line of questioning was extremely unfair, especially given the fact that when Sumit first met Jenny online, he was catfishing her, using a photo that wasn't even of himself. At the end of the show, Sumit cleared things up by saying even if he had seen what she looked like in person when they started their communications, he still would have pursued her. Every woman reading this is probably thinking he'd better. Jenny admitted she still is not accepted by his family, but that is just the way it is. Stay tuned to 90 Day Fiancé and keep checking 90 Day Fiancé spoilers frequently for all the latest news, updates, and gossip about Rita. Ryan has been writing since the age of 13, starting with songs and later short plays and articles. In her teenage years, she was known as Rita Lorraine and tried to get into the country music recording industry and later the gospel music industry in the 1990s. Now, she concentrates her writing on soap opera spoilers, specializing in General Hospital. Aspires to write a series of family-friendly mysteries in the Hallmark movies and mystery style, and the rest of her time is spent being grandma to her 3 grandchildren and cat mama to Molly and Missy. She is married to her childhood sweetheart, whom she rediscovered after 30 years apart, stunned after an explosive revelation shook the already fragile relationship between Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh. During a tense and emotional appearance on 90 Day Fiancé Bears All, the couple found themselves facing one of their most uncomfortable truths yet, and this time, there was no escaping it. Hosted by Sean Robinson, the episode quickly turned from a simple sit-down conversation into a painful confrontation that exposed deep insecurities, family pressure, and unresolved wounds that have been lingering since the very beginning of Jenny and Sumit's love story. As viewers already know from 90 Day Fiancé, Jenny moved all the way to India to be with Sumit, sacrificing her comfort, stability, and relationship with her family in hopes of finally building a life together after years of long-distance romance. But what unfolded in this episode proved that even after all these sacrifices, acceptance and honesty are still major obstacles standing in their way. The drama began when Sumit joined a virtual discussion alongside his parents, Sana and Anil, who have never fully approved of his relationship with Jenny. While tensions were already high, things escalated dramatically when Anil casually revealed something that immediately changed the tone of the entire conversation. According to him, when Sumit first met Jenny in person, he was shocked by how she looked. The comment hit like a bombshell. Jenny, who is 61 years old, has always been aware of the age gap between her and 32-year-old Sumit, but hearing that he had been shocked by her appearance was something she had never been told before. The word itself carried weight, and fans could see the confusion and hurt spread across her face in real time. Sumit tried to stay calm, but the damage was already done. Anil continued explaining that he and his wife had always expected their son's future wife to be young and beautiful, and in their opinion, Jenny did not fit that image. The blunt honesty from his parents was painful enough, but what made it worse was the confirmation that Sumit had, in fact, felt surprised when he first saw Jenny face to face. When Jenny directly asked him if it was true, Sumit admitted that yes, he had been shocked. However, he quickly tried to soften the statement, saying he didn't mean it in a cruel way. He explained that when they first started talking online back in 2011, video quality and internet connections were not very clear, so neither of them had a perfect image of the other. According to Sumit, he had simply imagined she would look a little younger in person. But for Jenny, the explanation didn't make the sting disappear. In that moment, it wasn't about internet quality or camera resolution. It was about trust, honesty, and feeling accepted by the man she gave up everything for. Her voice trembled as she admitted this was the first time she had ever heard him say that. That revelation alone was heartbreaking. For years, she believed that their connection went beyond physical appearance, that their love story was built on emotional intimacy rather than superficial expectations. Hearing that he had quietly carried that initial disappointment without ever telling her made her feel blindsided. Instead of reassuring her properly, Sumit unknowingly dug himself deeper into trouble. He asked her whether she would have wanted to hear something like that before, implying that he kept it secret to protect her feelings. But to Jenny, it felt like another betrayal layered on top of past lies, including the early catfishing incident when Sumit had used someone else's photos online. The room grew tense as emotions reached a boiling point. Jenny, visibly hurt and humiliated, stood up and walked out, refusing to continue sitting there while being criticized about her age and appearance. It was a powerful moment that showed just how much pressure she has endured over the years from Sumit's family. Even after relocating to India and fighting for their relationship, she still finds herself defending her worth. After she left the room, Sumit attempted to explain himself further, saying he never intended for her to find out that way and never planned to tell her because he knew it would hurt her. He insisted that he didn't think she needed to know since he loved her regardless. But many fans watching felt that honesty, even when uncomfortable, is always better than secrets revealed under pressure. Meanwhile, Anil did not make things any easier. He added comments about how makeup can hide a person's true age and make them appear younger than they are, a remark that only intensified the awkwardness. When Jenny returned, she made it clear she would not continue to sit quietly while being insulted. She reminded everyone that when she first met Sumit online, he was the one deceiving her, using photos that weren't even his. Her frustration was justified, and viewers could sense that this wasn't just about one comment. It was about years of feeling unaccepted and judged. By the end of the episode, Sumit attempted to repair the damage by reassuring Jenny that even if he had known exactly how she looked from the beginning, he still would have pursued her. While that statement offered some comfort, the emotional scars from the confrontation were impossible to ignore. Fans of 90 Day Fiancé the other way know that Jenny and Sumit have faced countless obstacles, from cultural differences to family rejection, but this moment felt especially personal. It wasn't just about tradition or parental approval anymore. It was about vulnerability, aging, self-esteem, and unconditional love. As their story continues to unfold, viewers are left wondering whether honesty will finally strengthen their bond or create cracks that cannot be repaired. One thing is certain. In the world of 90 Day Fiancé, Love is never simple, and for Jenny and Sumit, the emotional roller coaster is far from over. Confrontation continued. Fans of 90 Day Fiancé began debating whether this was just another bump in the road for Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh, or a deeper crack forming beneath the surface of their already fragile foundation. The emotional intensity shown on 90 Day Fiancé bears all proved that unresolved feelings from the past can resurface at any moment, especially when family involvement is constant and relentless. For Jenny, the pain wasn't only about being called older or hearing that Sumit was initially shocked by her appearance. It was about the humiliation of learning this truth in front of his parents and millions of viewers. That public exposure amplified the hurt. After walking out, Jenny reportedly struggled to process what had just happened. Imagine sacrificing your entire life in America, moving across the world to India, fighting against social norms, and standing firm despite constant rejection from your partner's family, only to discover that he once silently questioned your looks. That realization would shake anyone's confidence. Sumit, on the other hand, found himself trapped between honesty and damage control. He tried to clarify that his shock had nothing to do with losing attraction or regretting the relationship. According to him, it was simply the difference between expectation and reality after years of low-quality online communication back in 2011. But viewers couldn't ignore the irony. This is the same relationship that began with deception when Sumit catfished Jenny using someone else's photos. Back then, Jenny forgave him, believing their emotional bond was stronger than the lie. Now the roles seemed reversed. This time, she was the one feeling misled, as if a hidden truth had been kept from her for years. Fans immediately took to social media, divided in their reactions. Some argued that initial surprise is natural in online relationships, especially when video technology wasn't as advanced a decade ago. Others felt Sumit should have been completely transparent from the start, even if it was uncomfortable. The biggest issue wasn't that he once imagined her differently. It was that he never gave her the chance to hear it privately and honestly from him. Instead, it slipped out under pressure from his father, Anil, making it seem like a confession forced by circumstance rather than chosen transparency. Meanwhile, the tension with Sana and Anil continues to loom large over the couple's future. Their disapproval has always centered on the age gap and societal expectations. They have repeatedly expressed that they envisioned a young, traditional Indian bride for their son. Jenny represents the complete opposite of that expectation. Over time, she has tried to win them over with patience and respect. But moments like this reinforce the painful truth that acceptance may never fully come. That ongoing rejection places enormous emotional weight on both Jenny and Sumit. For Jenny, it's exhausting. For Sumit, it creates an impossible balancing act between loyalty to his wife and devotion to his parents. Another layer to this drama is the psychological impact of aging in a relationship with a significant age gap. Jenny has openly acknowledged the 29-year difference between them, but hearing constant reminders from Sumit's family can intensify insecurities. Aging is already a sensitive topic in society, especially for women, and public commentary about appearance only deepens that vulnerability. When Anil made remarks about makeup hiding true age, many viewers felt it crossed a line. It shifted from expressing parental concern to openly criticizing her physical reality. Yet despite the humiliation and anger, Jenny did not walk away from the relationship entirely. That says something powerful about her emotional investment. Even after storming out, she returned to confront the issue directly. She demanded honesty. She demanded respect. She refused to sit silently while being discussed like a problem to be solved. That strength is part of what has kept her in this relationship for over a decade. Sumit's final reassurance during the episode, that he would have pursued her regardless of how she looked, was clearly an attempt to mend the fracture. Whether viewers believed him or not is another question. Trust in their relationship has been tested repeatedly, from secret marriages to family ultimatums. Each new controversy adds another layer of complexity. However, their story has. The cameras stop rolling and real life continues off screen. Fans are left wondering what conversations happened privately after that explosive taping ended. Did Sumit fully grasp the depth of Jenny's hurt? Did Jenny truly forgive him? Or is this something she will carry quietly moving forward? One thing remains certain. When it comes to Jenny and Sumit, the drama never stays buried for long. And if history has taught viewers anything, it's that their love story will continue to surprise, frustrate, and captivate audiences around the world. The emotional storm surrounding Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh did not simply fade after the cameras stopped rolling. In fact, many loyal viewers of 90 Day Fiancé believe that moments like this reveal the deeper cracks that have always existed beneath their love story. What made this confrontation so powerful wasn't just the comment about Jenny's appearance. It was the reminder that their relationship has always been built under pressure from outside forces, especially Sumit's parents. From the beginning, their romance has faced resistance, judgment, and cultural backlash, and this latest revelation only intensified those long-standing tensions. After the dramatic exchange on 90 Day Fiancé, Bezol, fans began analyzing every detail of Sumit's explanation. Some viewers felt he genuinely meant no harm and was simply being honest under pressure. Others argued that his attempt to justify being shocked by blaming poor internet quality back in 2011 sounded like an excuse rather than accountability. The truth is, when Jenny first connected with Sumit online, technology was different, video chats were not always clear, and expectations can form easily through filtered screens. But emotional attachment over the years should have outweighed any initial surprise. For Jenny, the bigger issue wasn't whether he once imagined her looking slightly younger. It was that he kept that thought hidden for years. Relationships thrive on transparency, and learning about this in front of his parents made the moment even more humiliating. It placed her in a defensive position, as if she had to justify her own existence. That public vulnerability is something many women watching could deeply relate to. Aging is a sensitive topic, especially in a world that constantly pressures women to look youthful. Hearing your partner admit that you looked older than expected can reopen insecurities you may have worked hard to silence. Meanwhile, Sumit continues to live in the shadow of his parents' expectations. Sana and Anil have never hidden their disappointment about the age gap. Their vision for their son's future included a younger Indian bride who would fit traditional standards. Jenny's presence challenges that vision every single day. Even after marriage, acceptance has remained distant. That constant tension creates an emotional tug-of-war for Sumit, who tries to maintain peace on both sides but often ends up hurting the very person he claims to love. Another layer to this ongoing drama is the history of deception that shaped their early relationship. When Sumit first approached Jenny online, he wasn't even using his real photos. He presented himself as someone else entirely. Jenny forgave him after learning the truth, choosing love over betrayal. That decision required immense trust and vulnerability on her part. Now, years later, hearing that he once felt surprised by her appearance brings back echoes of that original dishonesty. Even if his intentions were not malicious this time, the emotional memory of being deceived before makes any new revelation feel heavier. What keeps fans invested in Jenny and Sumit's story is their undeniable emotional connection. Despite arguments, despite family rejection, despite cultural barriers, they continue choosing each other. That persistence is rare. Many couples on 90 Day Fiancé, the other way, have fallen apart under far less pressure. Yet Jenny and Sumit remain standing, even when storms hit hard. Still, love alone does not erase hurt. Moving forward, the real test will be whether Sumit can consistently make Jenny feel secure and valued, not just in private but publicly as well. Words matter, especially when spoken in front of those who already disapprove. Jenny has shown strength time and time again. Leaving the room was not weakness, it was a boundary. It was her way of saying she will not tolerate being diminished. That moment may actually mark growth in her confidence. Instead of silently absorbing criticism as she has in the past, she demanded honesty and respect. That shift could change the power dynamic in their relationship. For Sumit, this could become a wake-up call. Balancing loyalty between parents and spouse is never easy, particularly in cultures where family approval carries enormous weight. But marriage requires prioritizing your partner. If he wants this relationship to survive long term, he may need to draw clearer boundaries with his parents, even if that creates temporary conflict. Fans continue to debate online whether this couple will finally find lasting peace or if new controversies will keep surfacing. Their journey has never been smooth, And perhaps that unpredictability is exactly why audiences remain captivated. Every episode feels like an emotional gamble. Will they grow stronger, or will another secret resurface? As their story unfolds, one truth stands out. Jenny did not move across the world to be loved conditionally. She moved for partnership, respect, and emotional security. Whether Sumit can fully provide that without hesitation or hidden doubts will determine the future of their marriage. For now, viewers remain glued to their screens, waiting to see if this chapter becomes a turning point or just another dramatic page in one of the most talked about love stories in the 90 Day Fiancé.